Everybody's here. Great. So good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank you all for joining us here today. I'm MPP Stephen Crawford, and I've had the honor and privilege to represent the people of Oakville at the legislature since 2018. And I would like to recognize the great people that I'm here with standing at the podium with me. I have the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Peter Bethlenfalvy, the Minister of Finance, who's excited to be here particularly. We have our budget coming out tomorrow. We have the Honourable Vic Fedeli, Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, and my colleague from Oakville North Burlington, Effie Triantafylopoulos, who is a Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. It's hard to believe that it's been nearly 10 months since the people of Ontario approved our plan to continue to grow the economy, bring manufacturing jobs back to Ontario, and to help families and businesses keep costs down. As our government creates the right environment for businesses to flourish, we are witnessing a manufacturing renaissance in Ontario. Manufacturing businesses like Oakville Stamping and Bending Limited. So it gives me great pleasure to thank and welcome to our podium our host, Kevin Ernst, the COO of OSMB. Kevin?
Good morning and welcome, Premier Ford and Minister Bethlenfalvy, Minister Fedeli and your teams, and members of the media, to Oakville Stamping and Bending, or OSMB, as we're more commonly known in the plumbing industry. My name is Kevin Ernst, and I'm the CEO of OSMB. I'm joined here with the owners, our Executive Director, Michelle Cornelison, and our CEO, Brad Cornelison, along with our entire OSMB team here in Oakville, Ontario. OSMB was started in 1975 in our Oakville, Ontario. While our name says we no longer stamp or bend, since companies must evolve in order to survive. Our evolution has us manufacturing plumbing waste fittings for baths, showers, and lavatories, which are, in many cases, patent-protected, higher-value products designed and made here in Ontario. This has provided with us explosive growth and opportunity, from our humble beginnings in 8,000 square feet just 2 doors down from here, to having multiple locations and many sales agencies across Canada and the USA. We are proud to be an Ontario-based manufacturer of plumbing waste fittings for the residential, commercial, and institutional markets in Canada, the United States, the UK, and Europe. We appreciate the efforts of the Government of Ontario to help Ontario manufacturers compete in world markets, and we look forward to seeing more. We are honored that the Office of the Premier has chosen our company to host this important event. So please, join me in welcoming our Minister of Finance, the Honourable Mr. Peter Bethlenfalvy. Minister. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone, and I'm always so impressed when someone can pronounce my name. So it's great to be here again and on such a great day, and I'm really excited to be here at Oakville Stamping and Bending with Premier Ford, Minister Fedeli, my incredible parliamentary assistant, Stephen Crawford, and the MPP for this riding, of Oakville, and Effie Triantafylopoulos, member of Provincial Parliament for Oakville North Burlington. And you notice how I said Triantafylopoulos, it just flowed. That's because if you got a name like Bethlenfalvy, you better learn Triantafylopoulos. And thanks you very much, Kevin, for hosting us today, and thank you for hosting us as well here at the Oakville Stamping and Bending. You know, as Ontario faces ongoing uncertain economic times, families, businesses, and workers, and we met many of you today. It's great to see you all in those beautiful One Team, One Vision T-shirts. They are feeling the financial pressures each and every day. While Ontario's economy has remained resilient, the economic road ahead continues to be uncertain. Tomorrow, I will be tabling Ontario's 2023 budget, and it's a plan that will support families, support workers, support businesses today, while laying a strong fiscal foundation for future generations. Un plan qui soutiendra les familles, les travailleurs et les entreprises aujourd'hui, tout en mettant en place de solides assises financières au profit des générations futures. It's a plan with targeted investments that ensures we can continue to have a resilient economy now and in the future. Between 2004 and 2018, Ontario's manufacturing sector saw a decline in employment of over 300,000 workers. Since 2018, our government has attracted billions of dollars worth of investments in automotive and clean steel manufacturing. We've already attracted over $16 billion thanks to the leadership of Premier Ford and Economic Minister Vic Fedeli, by great global automakers and suppliers of batteries and electric car vehicles and battery materials coming to Ontario. In 2022, our government secured more than 150 investment deals from a wide range of sectors, including automotive technology, manufacturing, and life sciences. And as part of tomorrow's budget, our plan will continue to attract investments, create jobs, and drive economic growth during a time of uncertainty. Our plan will also build the infrastructure we need to support the growth we are seeing right across the province, and I'm sure, Premier, you're going to talk about, and I'll leave it for you, the incredible growth in population in this province. People are coming to this province, but we need to have good jobs for them, good infrastructure, houses, and I'm sure you're going to talk about that. It will train workers for the jobs of tomorrow and give more workers more opportunities by helping to provide new ways to train and learn. So I look forward to sharing more details tomorrow about our government's responsible, targeted approach that is building an Ontario that the people of this province, these workers, these business owners, families today can be proud of, not only for today, but in the future. And now, it's a great honor and pleasure to turn things over to the Premier, who will share more about how we are continuing to bring manufacturing back to the province. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning, everyone, and I'm thrilled to be back here in beautiful city of Oakville, alongside, as he said, Minister Bethlenfalvy and Minister Fedeli. And hey, I got to give Minister Fedeli a shout out again for the Volkswagen deal. The guy's an absolute champion, our #1 salesperson, our #1 finance guy right behind me, and we're just so blessed to have each one of you as ministers. But it wouldn't happen without our great caucus members. And I love the one team, one vision. It's also great to see MPPs Crawford and Triantafilopoulos, who are a big part of our team at Queen's Park and who do a tremendous job representing the people here in the region. I also want to acknowledge my good friend, Mayor Rob Burton, absolute champion. The people of Oakville should be so fortunate to have a true champion like yourself, always fighting for the people of Oakville. And a big thank you to Kevin, Michelle, and Brad, and the entire team here at OSMB for hosting us today. And I always say this company doesn't exist. Our company, when I was in the private sector, wouldn't exist if it wasn't for all the great people that work here. So thank you. That's what keeps Ontario going, folks like yourself. And again, it's a pleasure to visit companies like yourself. A company that has grown from humble beginnings to one of Canada's largest manufacturers and distributors of plumbing products. OSMB is a true made-in-Ontario success story. And we're so proud of what you've all accomplished here, and thank you. And you just think, folks, every single company, homes, have your products in there. You don't realize it, but you folks are manufacturing it, and they're installing it. My friends, our government has a plan to rebuild our manufacturing sector because, as we know, manufacturing and production facilities like this one are the lifeblood of communities across the province and have been for decades. And that's why, since day one, we've been hard at work creating the conditions for manufacturing companies of all sizes to grow and succeed. We're tackling labor shortages with historic investments in employment and training programs. We're building roads and highways like the Bradford Bypass and Highway 413 to keep people and goods moving. We're cutting costs, making electricity more affordable, cutting red tape, and have kept taxes and fees low. And the result is we have reduced the cost of doing business in Ontario by $8 billion a year. That's right, $8 billion with a B, each and every year. That's money that goes back into businesses so they can invest in growth and new jobs. I always say you make a profit, you invest it back into your people, invest it into technology, invest it into equipment, and that's how we grow. But my friends, as we navigate global economic uncertainty and as we face new challenges, like protectionist legislation in the United States, we know there's more to do to help our manufacturing companies remain competitive. So today, we're thrilled to announce that as part of our upcoming 2023 budget, we'll be proposing the new Ontario-made investment tax credit. We're investing $780 million to give Ontario-based manufacturing companies another reason to invest in homegrown, Ontario-made innovation and expand their operations right here in Ontario. If passed, the Ontario-made manufacturing investment tax credit will provide companies a 10% refundable tax credit up to $2 million a year on qualifying investments in building, machinery, and equipment. This program, this new tax credit, will help local manufacturing companies grow, innovate, become more competitive, and most importantly, create good-paying jobs. And this is just one of the many initiatives we're taking to grow our manufacturing sectors across the province. Through our regional development program, we've contributed over $70 million to help small and medium-sized businesses invest in new equipment and training. And last year, we added $40 million stream specifically for advanced manufacturing companies to invest in capital equipment, technology adoption, and skills development. We're also revitalizing our auto sector. I think that's a massive story. Building an electric vehicle supply chain, already securing over $17 billion over the past 2 years. That's not including the Volkswagen deal, from global automakers and suppliers of EV batteries and battery materials. And our plan is to build is working. 600,000 more people are working today than in 2018. But my friends, while we continue to attract investments and create thousands of jobs, we know there's more to do to build stronger, more resilient economy for today and tomorrow, and for all Ontarians. We can't take anything for granted. Our government will continue to support our workers and businesses. We'll continue to build stronger and safer communities. We'll continue to build the roads, highways, schools, hospitals, and homes our growing province needs. And we'll continue to keep costs down for Ontarians and get money back into their pockets. And we'll continue to build on all our strengths so that they can weather any storm that comes our way, ensuring Ontario remains the best place in the world to live, work, build a business, and raise a family. Thank you again for joining us today, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
We'll now go to the floor for questions. If reporters could please line up at the microphone behind me and identify yourselves by name and outlet. Just a reminder, it'll be one question and one follow-up. First question.
Morning, Premier Richard, Southern City News. How you doing?
Hi, Richard. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Not bad, thanks. I want to get your take, if you don't mind, on your budget tomorrow. Specifically, the federal finance minister said in her budget there will be targeted supports for those who have struggled with high inflation and high interest rates. Will there also be such targeted supports for Ontarians in your budget tomorrow?
Well, without disclosing the budget, and before I get myself in trouble, I'm going to hand it over to the budget chief. So, the budget chief, here I go, the finance minister.
No, that's
I'm living back at the Toronto City Hall days.
Yeah, no problem there, Premier. No, that's great. So Richard, so one more sleep, and it's a very tough time for many people in Ontario and right across the country. We saw inflation come down yesterday from 5.9 to 5.2, but it's still very high, and that's why we took action very early. In fact, last year, Premier, we did the budget together, and we tabled a budget that we took to the people of Ontario, which included a reduction of the gas tax to make it more affordable at a time when gas prices were very high. We increased the minimum wage to $15.50, which is the second highest in the land. We increased the low individual family tax credit so that low-income workers are paying some of the lowest taxes, personal income taxes in Canada. But we didn't stop there. As you know, in the fall economic statement, we doubled the guaranteed annual income for low-income seniors, up to 200,000 seniors, so they could get another $1,000 into their pockets. We increased Ontario Disability Support Program by 5%. First time any government indexed it to inflation. And we also increased the earnings exemption so that from 200 to 1,000, so they could keep more money in their pockets if they chose and can and wanted to work. So we've done a lot of things, and we're going to continue going because we know that things have been tough in this province, and we'll talk about it some more tomorrow.
Didn't quite get a clear answer there, but Premier, I have a follow-up for you on another topic. The field for the mayoral race in Toronto has grown dramatically. Mitzi Hunter telling us today she intends to run. Josh Matlow's in there. What do you make of these field of candidates, Premier?
Well, I think the councillors, you know, that are jumping in there, they don't have to step down, unlike MPs and MPPs, which, I don't know, I think council should review that. But I'll work with anyone. As I've shown, there's 444 municipalities. I'll work with any mayor that gets elected to make sure the best interests of their constituents, you know, work out, no matter if it's supporting them on transit or supporting them on affordable and attainable homes, on building homes. So it doesn't matter who gets elected. And I'm staying out of that election. So, well, good luck to all of them. I encourage you to run, and all the very best. It's tough putting your name forward. So.
Hi, Premier.
Hi.
On the mayoral race, you said you're going to stay out of it. Does that mean you will not? You do have the power to change rules like whether or not somebody has to resign their seat in order to run for mayor. Is that something you're going to get involved in?
No, I'm just going to stay out of that, and this is not the time to do that. And I just want to wish everyone all the best. It's going to be a tough race. It's going to be an exciting race. I think the margin is going to be pretty small on the percentage that you need to win, you know, with those many candidates. But maybe a few will drop out. You just never know with the mayoral election. But either way, I'm gonna work with whoever's the mayor.
Whoever is the mayor is looking at this big budget hole, and they're pleading with your government and the federal government to help fill that. And they say at this point they haven't heard anything. Should they be making other plans? Do you think that's a fair request?
It's always a fair request, but we've given Toronto hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, no matter if it's Toronto, if it's for their transit. Actually, not 100 million, probably a couple billions of dollars to Toronto. We've bailed them out on numerous occasions. But I have a message to the new mayor. You got to be fiscally responsible. You're spending the hard-working taxpayers' money. You can't be wasting money. And if you know, maybe I'm going back a little bit. But when Rob and I went down there, the first thing out of the, you know, the city manager's mouth, you have $780 million deficit, and by the way, you have to raise taxes 20-some-odd%. Well, we did the opposite. We ended up driving efficiencies. We found $1 billion of savings. We delivered a 0% tax increase. That's the difference of treating the taxpayers' money like your own versus treating it like you just don't care. And the easiest thing is to just raise taxes. That's unacceptable. Drive efficiencies throughout the system. There's not one level of government that someone can convince me there's not waste, including the province, the federal government, and municipal governments. We have to start driving efficiencies, thinking outside the box, and doing things differently. Because I can tell you one thing, these hardworking people here and around the province, they get a paycheck, and they see the government gouging them on taxes, then they go buy something, more taxes, and then they're paying property taxes. They're fed up. They're done. They're absolutely done. They work their backs off, you know, up to 60 hours a week, and then they put in overtime, and the government's gouging them. So we all have to drive efficiencies throughout each level of government.
Hey, good morning, Premier. Colin DeMello from Global
Hey,
News.
Colin.
I wanted to ask you about CSIS. So yesterday you had indicated that your staff had received a briefing and that that briefing wasn't really substantive. I wanted to know from you, what exactly did CSIS tell your office? Did they raise issues about Vincent Ke? Did they give you any kind of evidence, or did they share any of their concerns?
So, Colin, what happened, I guess an article came out, so our staff requested a meeting with CSIS. They sat down, had a quick discussion with them. There wasn't a lot that we didn't already see in the paper or the article, and we just want Vincent to clear his name and get back with the team. It was his choice to step aside, and we're going to see what happens here. But in my opinion, Vincent's a good person. He's an important part of our team. He's going to clear his name, and then he'll be back with us.
So what should Ontarians take from your support of Vincent Ke? If CSIS has some kind of a concern, but you're saying there is a path for him back into caucus. Does that mean...
If he clears his name, Colin.
Fair enough.
If he doesn't clear his name, then he's not going to be part of our party.
But how are you approaching what these allegations from CSIS or this investigation or suspicions from CSIS are? Do you believe what CSIS is suspecting here, or is this, in your view, just much ado about nothing?
I'll be very frank. As I said yesterday, they were pretty vague. So, you know, again, if he clears his name, he'll be part of our party. If he doesn't clear his name, I guess he'll have more issues to deal with.
Hi, Premier.
Hi.
Laura Stone,
Hey,
Globe
Laura.
and Mail. Just on the clearing his name element, how do you expect Mr. Ke to clear his name? I understand he has a lawyer who's represented you in the past. Do you think he's going to sue over this? Like, what is the process for clearing his
You
name?
know, that's going to be up to Vincent and up to CSIS. Again, you can't throw someone's name out there and not give the person an opportunity to clear it. Nothing's worse than being accused of something and the media gets a hold of it and runs it, and it's not the media's fault. That's your job. It's just an unfortunate situation, very unfortunate. But again, when it comes to elections, and this is a federal government, I have zero tolerance for any outside interference, any nonsense that's going on. We live in a democratic society, and no one's going to dictate to any Ontarian who they should vote for and what party they should vote for. That's our democratic right, and that's why we have the greatest jurisdiction, greatest country in the world.
Okay, thanks. Just on another topic regarding the VW deal.
Yes.
We've seen some criticism from the federal Conservative Party leader, Pierre Poilievre, over the secrecy of this. He's gone after Justin Trudeau for not revealing how much this has cost and, you know, says how much of money is Canada giving to the foreign corporation. What do you make of these comments, and do you think that they're also supposed to be critical of you?
No, that's up to them. I'm not getting involved in their political, comments up in Ottawa. We have the greatest province in the world. We did a great deal. I have the best person anywhere in the country, Vic Fideli, that worked endlessly, along with, I think, 12 or 13 ministries, 3 agencies with the federal government and with municipalities. And right now, since we've created the conditions and the environment, companies, many companies, life sciences, but especially in the auto sector, they're coming back into Ontario. Folks, when we first took office in 2018, these companies were leaving in the droves. The auto sector was closing down. We were losing it. And because we created the environment, we worked hand in hand with all 3 levels of government. We've seen companies coming in by the droves. And do you know what's amazing? Stats Canada came out. And every single time I come out here, you hear me preaching about we need more homes, we need more homes. There's 300,000 people coming. And I keep warning people. All of a sudden, Stats Canada comes out, and they said, last year, 450,000 people landed here in Ontario and calling this home. And that's why I'm saying, guys, I'm setting the panic alarms off and thank all the municipalities for passing our housing plan. I thank Mayor Burton for passing our housing plan. There's one outlier, and I'm going to call him out, is the Mayor of Newmarket, Mayor Taylor. I gave him a call this morning. There's 444 municipalities. Everyone's agreeing. It's called Team Ontario, team effort. Where are we putting the 450,000 people? We need to build homes. We need to build them quick. And I said, the federal governments said they were going to bring in 500,000 people. And I said, well, 300,000 were landing here in Toronto, the GTA, and in Ottawa. Well, I underestimated. There's 450,000 people. And that's why we need the schools, the hospitals, the bridges, the infrastructure, and especially the homes. So I just want to thank all the mayors out there. I'm very, very grateful. We can't do it without you. And I'm just blessed to have great relationships with them.
Morning, Premier. Liam Casey with the Canadian Press.
Hi.
The Federal Environment Minister, Stephen Guilbeault, really ripped into Ontario's approach to the environment yesterday, said collaboration was impossible. Ontario had no desire to protect the environment, sort of on and on. Wondering what you make of those comments, and will you pledge to protect Rouge Park and the 42 species at risk there?
Yeah, no, I'm all protecting Rouge Park. I don't pay any attention to political comments from Guilbeault. It doesn't even faze me. We're building homes. We're going to have it adjacent from that area. It's going to be beautiful. People will be able to walk through the parks. And as for the environment, there's no government in the history of this province has done more for the environment than the PC government. We're creating electric vehicles, taking millions of cars off the road. We're investing billions of dollars into green steel. We have the most environmentally friendly green steel anywhere in the entire world, right here at Dofasco and Algoma, and we're working with Stelco as well. So we're doing a tremendous amount for the environment. We run 96% clean energy here, unheard of anywhere in the world. That's why we're attracting a lot of companies. That's why the auto sector is manufacturing here, because they can actually say we're producing green vehicles from the start to the finish. So we're going to continue always being environmentally friendly, but it's not either or, folks. It's and. You can't, just do this and not do the other. We can be environmentally friendly, and we can create economic development that goes hand in hand. And I know Peter had a chance to talk about the economy. You were talking about Volkswagen. I want to call Vic Fideli up here and talk about the jobs that are coming into Ontario is staggering. The Americans are doing backflips right now, wondering how we're doing it. They're going crazy. We're seeing increase in trade with the U.S. We used to do $400 billion of two-way trade. It's now up to $460 billion in two-way trade. I had a conversation with a former Prime Minister, and he said, Doug, not only Ontario is an economic powerhouse in North America, it's an economic powerhouse worldwide now. The whole world is looking at Ontario to invest in. And maybe, Vic, you can tell the story about VW, about that article in the magazine and why they chose Ontario.
Thank you, Premier. It's not always about the money. It really is about all of the components that we have here in Ontario, the skilled trades, the critical minerals, the ecosystem, the auto ecosystem that has been built over the last several years. We've seen such a resurgence in Ontario. In 2019, Reuters told us that there will be $300 billion spent in EVs over the next few years, and zero of it was targeted for Canada. Zero out of $300 billion. Premier Ford, our team, we put together Driving Prosperity, which was our plan to get Ontario back in the auto game by lowering the cost of doing business by $8 billion a year. And that is exactly what happened. And we saw $17 billion before the Volkswagen announcement, $17 billion in the auto sector alone, $3 billion in life sciences, many more billions in tech, all coming back. I'll end, Premier, just by reminding everybody, every single day of every single week, the Premier receives his one-a-day vitamin from me. And it's the name of a company, how many millions they're spending in Ontario, investing in Ontario, the city that they're doing it in, how many jobs they're creating, and whether we have any skin in the game or not. Every single day, and that has not changed, it has not stopped. Ontario, we'll only be able to say this for a little while longer. We're firing on all cylinders right now, but our economy really is booming because of the conditions that we have put in place to make Ontario the place to want to invest. Thank you, Graham.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And that only happens with hardworking people right to the left of me. We wouldn't exist without folks like yourself, and I'm very grateful.
Thanks.
Yes.
On that critical mineral front,
yes.
On the Ring of Fire, your mining minister called questions about the timeline to build the road to the Ring of Fire
yes.
hypothetical. I'm wondering if you have an idea when this road will be built, and will there be some new money in the budget for either the road or the entire Ring of Fire project?
Well, we're putting $1 billion into this road. We want the federal government to pitch in as well. This is absolutely critical. We have 34 of the most critical minerals right here in Ontario. And folks, the entire world wants them. And that's fine. They can have them, but they aren't shipping them over to another country to manufacture batteries and shipping them here. They can have the lithium, the cobalt, and the silver, and so on and so forth to make the batteries. But guess what? They're making it right here in Ontario. And under the Constitution, I just like saying this, always reminding our federal partners there, that under the Constitution, natural resources falls under the jurisdiction of the province. We work hand in hand with the federal government, really good relationship with the First Nations community up in the Ring of Fire. Webequie First Nations is doing the EA along with Martin Falls. Great announcement there. It's gonna bring prosperity to the area. Right now, it's a flying communities. A lot of these communities, this is going to give them fuel. It's going to give them food. It's going to give them health care. So it's not just about the Ring of Fire, but there's hundreds of billions of dollars up there waiting to come out of the ground, flow down to the auto plants, into the EV battery manufacturing plants, and we're going to be a one-stop shop. So we're going to be building EVs from top to bottom right here in Ontario by Ontarians.
Good morning, Premier. Linda Ward with CBC.
Hi.
I just want to loop back to sort of where we started here with Richard's question about help for people who are struggling in this province when it comes to inflation. Didn't really get a straight answer. We got a kind of a list of things that the province is already doing.
Yes.
Can they expect anything new in tomorrow's budget to help them deal with the growing cost of living?
Yeah, you know, I see that, and I see going into the grocery store, the cost of groceries that's going up, gas, and this is what's frustrating. I get along very well with the feds, and I don't care what political stripe you are, but they're putting this carbon tax again up in April. It's gouging people, and they'll say, "Oh, you get a check back." That's nonsense. What are you getting? $90 back? $100 back? That doesn't even fill up a tank of gas. So what we did, we got rid of the license sticker. It may not seem a lot, but I'll tell you, it puts money back into people's pockets. We ended up getting rid of the tolls on the 412 and the 418. It may not seem a lot, but if you're going down that road every single week and you're getting charged $100 a week, that's a lot of money. ODSP, we're raising it by to 5%. And as for the budget, I apologize. We just can't disclose that until tomorrow. We'll be fully transparent tomorrow, but we can't tell you about the budget until tomorrow. And we'll always make sure we take care of the most vulnerable people. But you know how to take care of the most vulnerable people that are of healthy mind, healthy body? You give them a great paying job. Give them their independence. And right now, it's the employees market out there. There's 380,000 unfilled jobs right now here in Ontario. We need more people here to fill those jobs and just keep moving forward. And I'm just so proud of the people here in Ontario, working so hard. No better place in the world, I'm convinced, than right here in Ontario to live and work and raise a family.
Okay, we can't talk about tomorrow's budget until tomorrow, but let's talk about something from last year's budget that still hasn't really been dealt with, the promise of a new provincial park. What's happening with that?
Well, that's your specialty, Peter, so he's been on to me every day about that.
Look, I still want to answer your questions, but just 24 more hours. 4 o'clock. Now, President Biden's now, I found out, speaking at 2 p.m. tomorrow. So, you know, our plan is at 4 p.m., so hopefully he's finished by 4 p.m. So you have to choose between Biden and Bethlenfalvy, so hopefully you'll go with...
That's an easy choice.
Yeah, okay, I got one vote from the Premier. You know, so we're continuing to advance the work on that. I've been working with the Minister of Environment, Conservation and Parks to advance that. And as the Premier said, you know, it is frustrating at times to stand here and say that we're not, we don't care about the environment, we don't care about conservation. Premier, you talked about, you know, how over 90% of the electricity grid is zero carbon in Ontario. I was just in Germany. You know, a third of their generation is coal. Japan, you know, Japan, which is a great industrial and manufacturing state, 24% coal. A lot of the U.S. states, you know, have coal as their number one. We've got zero coal in our energy grid. The Premier talked about the private sector, how we're partnering to get coal production from, steel production to, off coal to green steel, the green electricity. And that's why we're building the small modular reactor in Darlington. You know, clean energy, green. And by the way, we lead the country by miles in issuing green bonds, $15 billion. We just did another one a couple weeks ago for $1.5 billion for green projects. That's because we're investing in transit. We're investing in taking cars off the road. So we're doing multiple things. That first provincial park in 40 years, we'll continue to be working on it, and we'll give you more details as they become available. Thank you.
And this will be the last question.
Good morning, Premier. Jason Goodall with CHCH News. federal government tells us they have about 1,500 hotel rooms booked in Niagara Falls. They won't tell us how many people are seeking asylum occupying those hotel rooms because the number fluctuates, I guess, daily. There's a lot of concern from local politicians, mainly the mayor. Tomorrow's budget day, is there anything that the province is doing to step in to give some financial support to help alleviate that commercial sector that is seeing those rooms being occupied?
What we need the feds to do is give these folks working permits immediately. And this is the reason I keep talking about building homes. That's just one aspect of it, that they're coming up through Quebec and then coming down into Ontario, and that's fine. I believe people should be coming through the border properly, doing the proper papers, not sneaking in through a path up through Quebec from New York. That's my opinion. But we have these people here. We're going to take care of them. We're going to create jobs for them. But folks, this is the reason we need to build homes. We have those folks there that are going to need homes, but we have the 450,000 more people arriving here every single year now. So that's what we need to do. I know the mayor of Niagara Falls is frustrated. And the other thing, again, I don't control federal issues, but if you're going to do it, why don't you spread it out a little bit rather than just put everything down in Niagara Falls? I know we have quite a few people in my riding, north and in Rexdale there. They're picking up all the hotels along there. My heart breaks for these people. They come here. They're coming here for no other reason but to have a better life. They've come here to escape sometimes tyranny and abuse. Other times they just come here with their kids, and they know it's the most beautiful place in the world. So, it's not their fault. It really isn't. Let's embrace it. This is why we have a great province, is diversity, and let's just help them any way we can. And how you help them? Give them a good paying job.
Well, tourism season is just around the corner. Will there be support to the Niagara Falls region?
Well, we're always going to support the regions. We're always going to help Niagara Falls out, or any region, and making sure it's easier to deal with these issues. So we'll help them any way we can. We have a great relationship with the municipalities, and I'll do anything for them. I've walked a mile in their shoes. And I'll never forget, folks, one of the first times when Mayor Burton and I got together, it was about keeping the Ford plant here in Oakville. I remember Ford at the time was thinking they're going down to Mexico, but with the leadership of Mayor Burton getting out in front of it, you want to talk about leaders, he's a leader. And the reason why Ford is here is because we partnered up with the city, with ourselves and the federal government, and now they're here for decades to come to build electric vehicles. So thank you for your leadership again, Mayor. Thank you to our caucus here as well, and our great ministers, but most importantly, thank you, people at OSMB, for having us here, and God bless you and your families. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.